So they have reformulated the most popular foundation on the planet, but is it for better or worse? Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Carmel, and in today's video we are taking a look at the newly reformulated Armani Luminous Silk. So it's no doubt that this is an icon, a cult favourite, but for me, I was never really into it. I know, is that weird? I was never really into this foundation. I don't know why, it just didn't work out perfectly for me. I thought it was nice, but not really worth the price point. So I feel like I'm in a really good position to test out the old versus the new, because I'm not coming from an angry place, okay? I'm not angry that this product has been reformulated. In fact, I'm quite excited about it. So today we are going to be doing a wear test of half of the old and half of the new on my face and seeing how the new performs against the old and is it any better. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. So as always, my information is listed down in the description box, but I'm 43 with dry skin and a neutral olive undertone. So I've had a little bit of an issue with the shade choosing of this foundation, okay? So I'm just going to be really real with you. I wasn't even going to do this video at all because the shades I have are completely different to one another. Now this, I'm going to take half of the responsibility, but half is the fault of Look Fantastic because they did not fulfill my order. So my original shade of the Armani Luminous Silk is 5.75, which was always a little bit too golden for me. So I knew that they had added 18 new shades to this reformulation, and do you know what? The models really throw me off. And actually my friend Rhoda over at Paint the Face, she mentioned this in a recent video and she's so right. The models keep really throwing me off when I'm choosing my shades. So I ended up picking shade 5 and I thought it was a neutral undertone, but it's actually a neutral cool undertone, which I can get away with, but it's just too light. So then I reordered 5.3, which I should have ordered in the first place, which is an olive undertone. And I've been waiting and waiting for my package. And then Look Fantastic have basically told me that they're not sending it out. Okay, it won't be out for another 3-4 weeks. So I ain't waiting for that. So I had two choices: get a review out with really different shades on your face, or don't do a review at all. And I chose to do the light versus dark shade, and hey, at least you'll know which shade is which. So let's just have a quick look at what they have said has changed with this new reformulation. So this is a silky, non-comedogenic liquid foundation that blurs and smooths the skin, provides 24 hours of wear plus hydration, has medium coverage and a natural glow finish. So it still has the same silky texture, silky formula, but now it is infused with certain skincare ingredients such as glycerin and niacinamide. It has new pigments for more accurate undertones, and the shade range has been expanded with an extra 18 shades to include olive undertones. So I do wish I could have got my hands on that olive shade, but hey ho. Shall I just swatch these next to one another? These are so different. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm doing this video because it's just going to look really stupid. So actually, let's just take a look at the bottles. Here's the old, and it has a frosted glass bottle, and this one has more of that shiny type glass bottle. I mean, the new one actually does look better, doesn't it? It does look new and improved, kind of like the new kid on the block. It's nice. Both have pumps. So I'm going to show you the new shade that I got, which definitely makes me look a little bit ill, for sure. I look a little bit sick because it's just too cool for me. That's the shade 5. Now, if you are a user of the old Armani Luminous Silk, I would suggest going onto the website because there is a chance that your old shade has changed and it is called something different now. So I would advise just to go on and have a little look. I think there is a bit of guidance on there for you, but honestly, I really did struggle. So here is the new shade 5, and here is the old 5.75, and you can see how golden that is. Oh gosh, this, I don't know how this is gonna go. Not at all. So I did swatch some foundation shades next to the old and the new shades. And yeah, hopefully that might help a little bit when choosing yours. Now, I really don't like doing a half and half wear test, but it just gives more of an accurate comparison because skin behaves differently on different days, and you know the climate is different from one day to the next, so it is kind of a fair representation of how the foundation performs to test it on the same day. But it is going to look a little bit silly, but I'm hoping that once it's all blended out, it'll be fine. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. So I don't have anything on my face today apart from I've done my eyebrows and I have prepped my skin with my usual moisturizer. That's all I have. So we'll go in with the old 5.75 over here and we'll do that one first. This is a BK Beauty 101 brush that we're going to use, and don't mind my rosacea on this side. Yeah, so I don't really like doing a test like this. I would prefer to have like the old fully on my face and the new fully on my face and then test them like that. But things change, don't they, from day to day with your skin, and I feel like it's just more of an accurate test to do them on your face on the same day. Haven't used this Armani Luminous Silk in such a long time. And it is going on really nicely. So again, this is the old. There is a bit of a fragrance, isn't there, with it? It just kind of smells just a little bit fresh. Sorry if you can hear tractors outside. I do live in the country, and there's a little bit of sun out today. So the farmers are out in force. That is actually looking really nice, isn't it? That's the thing with this foundation, and I think that's why I didn't like it. Because some days it would look so nice, and some days it would just literally cling onto every dry patch on my face and just look absolutely terrible. Okay, so yeah, I never really got a super glowy finish from this foundation, but it just looks really nice and natural. Now we're going to put on the new. I'm dreading this. I definitely am. So I am going to clean off that same brush because I do want to use the same brush just to make it fair. But if you want to clean off all of the foundation in between applications from your brush, use a microfiber cloth. It will literally get rid of any single bit of foundation on there. It's really, really good. So that's clean again now. There it is. That's the new, and this is the shade 5. So again, 5.75. This is going to be 5. So we'll just pick it up and dot a bit here. I look really sick with this side. Yeah, but it's okay once you blend it out. It might be a little bit of a better shade match than 5.75, but the undertone is just off. Okay, I'm looking crazy. Now I have worn this a good few times, despite it being not my colour. So obviously I've got no concealer on, so I look a little bit crazy at the minute. But this is the new. And this is the old. Let me take a little look. That is so interesting, actually, looking at them side by side. So if I look at them at a glance, they both look very, very similar. And when I look at the old side, I can see, why I didn't like this foundation. So it tends to sit really heavy, kind of in this area. And it just emphasizes, it just makes me look older than what I am. And yeah, it just doesn't sit well in on certain parts of my face. And if I compare it to this side, it definitely looks a touch smoother. than this side. I do think they look incredibly similar. I think if anything, there is a touch more luminosity with the old side than the new. I'd say if I had to say at the moment, the new side does look a touch smoother, but the finish is exactly the same. Just very, very natural in my opinion. Not a great deal of luminosity, just looks like a natural finish. So I'm going to go and finish my makeup and then we'll come back and see how they're looking. Okay, so everything I've used on my face today, I will list in the description box below. So I don't think that the, maybe it is, I don't think that the shade difference is as obvious now that I have kind of blended everything together. I don't know what you think. So this is the old formula in 5.75 and this is the new formula in the shade 5. So as I was completing my makeup, I have definitely noticed differences on either side for sure. Now, I do think it's important to recognize that both sides of my face are different, and I had texture on one side more so than the other, and I definitely had more texture on the old Armani side than the new. However, having really analysed my face, and I've not touched my face with any powder, by the way, none, not a single scrap of powder on my face, because I just don't want to affect the foundation at all, so I've not even got any powder under my eyes. I had reservations about this new formula because of the niacinamide. Now, I didn't speak about the niacinamide before in the intro because I know you're probably sick of me talking about it. Here's the thing. Niacinamide is obviously a beneficial ingredient on paper, just like hyaluronic acid. And there's lots of ingredients like that that are put into our makeup products that, you know, brands think are going to improve our skin. And, you know, sometimes I think that I get on with niacinamide and then sometimes I don't. I personally don't want it in every single makeup products that I own. I'm at the stage now where every single stage of my makeup has niacinamide in, and yes, they are very small quantities. Do we really need it in everything? I don't know if we do, really. But I have to say that on this occasion, I'm not mad about the niacinamide. As I said, I've worn this new foundation several times. But this is the first time that I'm comparing it side by side with the old formula. And I'm going to have to say the new formula is way more smooth than the old. Far more smooth. It's really quite significant how much smoother my skin looks on the new side than the old side. The other thing that I've noticed is that the old formula is far more luminous than the new formula. And that's just my observation. And do you know what? I actually quite like the new one. I do think they have improved how smooth this new formula is. So it's pretty late in the day. It's 12 p.m. I don't usually film on a Saturday. That's why it's so late. So I'm going to go about my day now. I've got lots of things to do and I'm going to film some footage out in the daylight so that you can see it close up and in reality without the lights. And then I will come back later this evening and see how everything has worn on both sides. We're going to move on to the next bit of footage, which will be out in the daylight. Okay, so I am back and the time is 9:15 in the evening. So I've had this foundation on for just over 9 hours now. Let's take a look at the face. This is the old side. This is the new. It's lasted so well, hasn't it? Oh my gosh, actually both sides. I can't believe how well it's lasted. And I've just been out for a meal and the restaurant was about 1,000,000 degrees. Why did he do that? So I could actually feel my face sweating and I thought this is just gonna run off my face. Not at all. Like this side literally looks freshly applied. What the heck? So I'm just going to cut to the chase and I'm just going to take you through what I think are the similarities between these two and what I think the major differences are. So the first similarity is how easy they are to work with. So very, very fluid, runny foundations, absolute dream to blend, literally blend themselves, and nothing has changed there in how easy they are to apply. They both have a medium and a buildable coverage, and I think they did really well on my face. So whereas some of it has faded on my forehead around my hyperpigmentation, I think it covered my rosacea really well on both sides. So I cannot fault it in that sense. So if you were worried about the coverage, you needn't. It's the same. So now the differences, and let's be honest, this is what we all want to know. How are they different to one another? In my opinion, they both smell the same. However, when I took a look at the ingredients list, they both contain fragrance, but the newer formula lists more fragrance allergens far more clearly, in my opinion, and it's very evident that there are way more skincare based ingredients in the newer formula as opposed to the old formula. And obviously the major difference is that there is now niacinamide in this, and it still has denatured alcohol like it did in the previous one. So, bear those things in mind before you purchase this, and especially if you have more sensitive skin. The major difference, and this is a really good thing, is the finish of the foundation. So I never really got on board with the old Armani foundation, because I felt like it just didn't sit well on my face, and sometimes it would cling on to my dry patches and texture, and it would emphasize my pores. But this new one, honestly, the new one is so much more blurring and smoothing than the old one. Honestly, it's quite a stark difference. So if you had that issue that I did, you just didn't feel like it blurred, you felt like it just didn't sit right on your face, I think you might get on board with this new one. So another difference in relation to the finish is the level of luminosity to this. So, this is Luminous Silk, and I think that with the old version, you can see that it's much more glowy on this side, and I do feel like the old one is much more glowy, much more luminous. However, I do feel like that contributed to the emphasis of my pores and my texture as well. And don't get me wrong, I love glowy foundations. I love glowy, luminous, dewy, but only when they are blurring at the same time. And I don't feel like this did both for me. So the old one is much more glowy, and the new one is much more natural with a level of radiance, and it's much more toned down. And I think that's because the new one seems to set down. So it seems to set down and just remain really natural, and then it stays like that all day. Whereas this one just gets glowier. So I think that's a difference. So there's pros and cons to that. So if you loved this foundation for the luminous qualities, I'm not sure you're going to like the new one and how natural it is. It really is going to be a personal preference thing. Coming from somebody who lives for the glow, I would sacrifice the luminosity with this foundation for the blurring quality of the new one, because I'm telling you, it's a significant difference. Now, it's been a bit off for me because the foundation shade is off, and I think that's what's preventing me from falling in love with it. But I am tempted to still get another shade and see how it is, because I really do like how it looks in comparison to the old one. So look, the bottom line is, they have improved this formula. They have made this foundation way more blurring, way more smoothing, and way more flattering on the skin, in my opinion. But they have sacrificed some of the luminosity of the foundation, and they are just my personal findings. So do let me know, what do you think of this reformulation? Are you happy about it? Are you intrigued? Are you completely angry because they've ruined your favorite foundation? Let us know everything down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care and bye for now.